Hey everybody, it's Yasmin here. How you going? So I just put a meme that I created myself on my Yasmin Boland Facebook page that says, did you feel that energy shift? Because I really feel the energy shift after that full moon eclipse. And from what I can see, that post, a lot of people are responding and saying, yes, totally. I saw one person who said, oh my God, yes, I had the most massive argument with someone last night and I was screaming and shouting, which I'm sorry to say is kind of like almost in a way the worst that you can expect from the energies that we've had, because we've had the Mars-Uranus opposition followed by the full moon eclipse. But now, hopefully, it's all going to start to settle down a little bit. So let me tell you why that is. And it's to do with the moon and her going into the waning cycle, which, as I said, I knew I'd mention it. If you saw my free webinar series, you will know that from the first night, we talked about the two main cycles. There's the waxing cycle, which is new moon to full moon, and then there's the waning cycle, which is full moon to new moon. So because we had the full moon yesterday, we are now in the waning cycle. In fact, we had the full moon this morning. I was asleep, I think, at about 8 a.m. UK time, 4 a.m. Eastern, I think, about 1 a.m. LA Pacific time, and I think it was like 7:30 p.m. last night, Sydney time. Anyway, if you've got my diary, it's all in there. Moonology diary. I will do a card in a minute as well, a card for the waning cycle. But basically what it is the waxing cycle is the cycle from the new moon to the full moon where it's all go, go, go. Like, as I said again on the first night of the webinars, waxing cycle on, waning cycle off. Waxing cycle on, waning cycle off. That's because in the waxing cycle, it's all on, go, go, hurry, 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 get it done. Oh my God, what do you want to manifest in your life? Sorry if I'm shouting and it's annoying. And then the waning cycle, that's really yang and masculine, okay? And the waning cycle is yin and soft. It's like, we've had the emotional explosion of the full moon. Somebody wrote on my, I think it was on my page, it might have been on someone else's page, the full moon is basically the moon having an orgasm, which kind of made me laugh because it's actually really true in a funny way. It's like the waxing cycle is, all the lead up, all the foreplay, then there's the waning cycle, and then hopefully the waning cycle will be the afterglow. So here we are in the afterglow. And it really is time to just breathe out and let it all go. If you missed my webinar, you might be able to catch last night's. It might still be up there. Please don't be upset with me if it's not. That would be under moonmessages.com/web21, WEB21. Webinars 1 and 2 are definitely gone because they're only going to stay up for 24 hours. Last night's might still be up there if you haven't seen it. And I really recapped what we'd done to an extent. I talked about the basics of the moon cycle and the rituals for the new moon and the full moon. And we talked about angels and goddesses and essential oils. And then I told you about my new Moonology certification course for anyone who loves working with the moon and actually wants to get certified doing this, which I've put a link to there. I knew I'd talk about it. And if you want to get, basically the course is on sale for 5 days with 50% off, okay? It's $200 off, which is kind of amazing. And to get that, you just need to click the link above. It's moonmessages.com/discount 21 it's not a 21% discount, it's a 50% discount, but it's for 2021. So yeah, here we are. Now, I always think, when it comes to, now here we are in the waning cycle, and I think if everybody in the world knew that we were in the waning cycle now, it would be such a good thing, because then we wouldn't have people writing to us saying, oh, can you do this? Can you do that? Where's that? Blah, blah, blah. And I always use this analogy. I don't know if it makes sense to anyone else, but have you ever heard of the fact that in France, basically, it might be other countries as well, but in France, in August, France goes on holidays. Did you know that? So if you've ever been to Paris in August, for example, you know there's barely anyone there. All the shops are shut. The streets are more or less empty. Some Parisians hang around, and my husband, for one, loves Paris in August because it's empty. There are none of us tourists. It's just empty. And it's really interesting. It's a very functional thing that France does. August, holidays. Everybody goes away. The bakery shuts, but it doesn't matter because you're also on holidays. You know, you can't get your bread normally like you can because the baker's away, but who cares? Because you're away as well. It kind of works like that, and it works really well. It's a bit weird, I think, when I first, you know, as an Australian Brit, or British Australian, you know, when I first heard about it, I thought that's so strange. Like everybody goes on holidays at the same time. I guess it would be the equivalent if in Australia we all went on holidays in January, say. But having been married to my beloved husband, Olivier, now for about 15 or 16 years, it kind of makes more sense to me that they all just take off in August and the whole country basically shuts down. I mean, of course, the holiday spots are open because that's when those people make most of their money, I suppose. But, you know, otherwise, it's just holiday industries. And I always thought it was a bit strange, but now it really makes sense. And it's a bit like this with the waxing and the waning cycle. If of all of us as a great collective could say to everybody we work with, you know, our families, our friends, okay, new moon to full moon, we go for it. We meet up, we have our lunches, we have our dinners, we have our deadlines. It's really working hard time. And then full moon to new moon, the waning cycle, we all just go, and do nothing. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. But once you start to become aware of the moon cycles, it is much, much easier for you or for anybody to say, okay, that's the, you know, put it in your diary, waxing cycle, waning cycle. And then you can actually go, you know what, I should be doing that in the waxing cycle. I should be allowing myself time off in the waning cycle. And, you know, you might even say, well, that's unrealistic. I can't possibly take 2 weeks a month easy. But it's not like that. It's not like you stop doing everything. You don't have to be like France and completely shut down. You could just say, waning cycle, I just remember to take it easy. I really work on my self-care in that period. I definitely go for my walks. I definitely nurture myself. I definitely have, you know, a massage or a hot bath or, you know, a walk by the river or whatever it is for you that helps you to breathe out, because that's what it's all about. So, and the reason why I think a lot of people are going to be feeling the energy in particular today is because, you know, yesterday was the full moon eclipse. Okay, sorry, I keep saying yesterday. It was this morning. It was last night was the biggest in the sky, but this morning. So we've just had the full moon eclipse. So we've gone from like a real energetic peak power point for the year to here we are in the waning cycle. But one little caveat to be aware of is, remember, we are now in eclipse season, because the next lunation, which will be the new moon in 2 weeks' time, is actually a new moon eclipse. So we are now in eclipse season. So we've just had the full moon eclipse, and next we're going to have the new moon eclipse. So this is not your average waning cycle. You may feel a little bit more wired, but it very much is a time to be very conscious of whatever you need to just let go. Especially, I keep going, because really that's what we do. Sort of, you breathe in the energy through your crown chakra, and you breathe out any negativity through your mouth. And yeah, one thing to be aware of as well is anything that's kind of been negative or difficult in your life, especially in the last 6 months since the last eclipse season. That's actually also really worth thinking, okay, breathe it out, forgive it. Forgiving it's one of the best ways. I talked about all this in my webinars. I'll just finish by saying I'm going to do a card. Let's do a card for the waning cycle. I'm going to use, who watched my full moon ceremony yesterday? That's on the Hay House page. That was also free. Everything I've been doing is all free, really, hopefully good stuff. Yesterday we did a fire ceremony, and then I said I'm going to do a card. It's the full moon in Taurus fire ceremony. I'm going to do a card for the full moon, and we got the full moon in Taurus card, and it literally jumped out of the pack. It was quite amazing. Okay, let's do a card now for the eclipse waning cycle. Okay, so we're in it is the eclipse. It's the eclipse waning cycle. It is still eclipse energy, so it will be a little bit more intense than you. Oh, there are a whole stack that just fell out. I'm not going to take them. Okay, there's one. Okay, what do we get? Oh, time for me to shut up. Talk less, feel more. So, you know, this can be a good card as well. Like if you've been involved in an argument or an upset with someone, you know, stop talking, start feeling. Start thinking about how they are in their perspective. How are things for them? Last quarter moon in Pisces. Where are we? This doesn't really mean just shut up, but it's here. All right. So the danger in your current situation is you're going to be really good at starting things and less good at finishing them. So maybe that is a little message to all of us. You know, don't just listen to me now saying this, saying, you know, saying it's the waning cycle, relax. Think, I need to look after myself for the coming 2 weeks. This card suggests you need to talk less and feel more. So rather than telling people what you want, feel your feelings about what you want. Well, that's a good one. Feel your feelings. We probably should have called the card Feel Your Feelings rather than Talk Less, Feel More, because it sounds a bit rude, doesn't it? What comes up? Do you believe in yourself or not? Perhaps you started strong, but you're running out of steam. Remember, it's okay to change your mind. One of the current energies is about feelings and the other is in its head. Where are you? Can you meld the two? Yeah, and that's why I called it talk less, think more. I probably could have called it think less. When we do a reprint, maybe I'll ask Kay House, can we make it think less, feel more? Because talk less, feel more sounds a bit like shut up. So if you've got one of the first decks, you might have it, but I'm going to ask them, can we change that to think? Because I do think it sounds rude. I'm going to make a note right now. Because we will do a reprint, hopefully. And when I read this from now on, I'm going to say think less, feel more. All right, so there we go. So that's the thing. Think less, feel more. Or is it talk less, feel more? I don't know. Maybe I won't change it. Maybe it's perfect. All these things come through the way they're meant to be. Maybe I just don't want to talk less. Anyway, I'm going to go now, so I talk less and feel more. And if you want to get 50% off my Moonology certification so you can understand all this stuff and teach your clients and help your friends and help yourself, click the link above. You get 50% off my Moonology certification course just for 5 days. It's moonmessages.com/discount21. moonmessages.com/discount21. If you didn't do the webinars, check it out anyway. It's only going to be on this special for 5 days for the whole year. All right. Lots and lots of love, guys. And I will speak to you later.